Welcome to episode 5 of b3mtb podcast, where we talk about bikes, bruises, and beverages.
Just some average dude talking about our mountain bike adventures. We're glad to have you here with your host, John Earle.
And Tally Hall.
Check us out on Instagram and YouTube at b3mtb. We're trying to post pictures of what we've been talking about. So if you have Instagram and YouTube, like everyone else in the nation, get on there and check it out. See what the content we're putting on there.
We've also started going into Facebook. You and I aren't really Facebook guys, but
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
We're getting there slowly. If you have Facebook, look us up. Same b3mtb. We're trying to post into the groups, and it's mainly just going to be
Facebook's a good community place.
Yeah.
I mean, I despise Facebook, but I guess for us it serves our purpose. We are back here, bringing it back to Crooked Can, and it's awesome because, you know, when you get a big community, I mean, we're big now. We're big time. 5th episode. So guess who came back for us?
five episodes.
The Cisco truck. The Cisco's like, dude, we are not missing this episode. We're going to be here for you guys. So in the background, if you hear a Cisco food truck, just like in episode 1, they don't want to miss a beat. So thank you. Shout out to Cisco for being our most loyal fans right now.
Live audience.
Live audience. All right. What are we drinking? Obviously, we're here at Crooked Can.
Yeah, we had this morning was a little. We got here early, couldn't get beer, had to go get beer, couldn't drink the beer.
By the time we get it figured out,
sold us beer
it's
early.
Open. Yeah, like whatever.
But I went simple. I have a Florida Tracker, and we had these beers last time. We had the flights last time, but now we just have full pours. I have a Florida Tracker and a Mr. Sunshine.
Nope. Try again.
Yeah.
No, it is Mr. Tractor and a Florida Sunshine. Which is off the cuff today, huh?
Yeah. What are you drinking there, smart guy?
I have a Workaholic and a Florida Sunshine. Okay. I mean, Florida Sunshine for me is just, it's just awesome. Yeah, the owner's here, the manager's here. It's cool, and they got some World Cup already playing. You watching anything?
I haven't. I was busy yesterday, and we talked about this earlier, but the USA tie. This is really the only thing I know about, and the upset that happened yesterday with Argentina and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so I once played soccer, and my oldest was complaining the whole time because I was like, "You're watching the U.S. play," which is like the first time I've watched a soccer game in a long time. And he was just complaining the whole time how boring it was. I was like, I don't care if it's the U.S. is painting a wall. We're gonna watch it, okay?
We're gonna wear our American flag socks.
Yeah, that's right. So he got into it at the end, but he just complained for like the first little bit. Like, this is like, and what happens if there's a tie? I was like, I'm sorry to break it to you, son, but it's just gonna end like that.
Then, when do they go into like a? Is there a kickoff? Like a, what is that called? Shootout?
So that would be after play. So once you get past the group stage, then it turns into like a playoff format. So there has to be a winner. So there'd be overtime, and then if nothing's decided in overtime, it goes into a shootout. Yeah. But that's enough about that's the most I've talked soccer in a long time.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way. This is a mountain bike podcast.
This is so much cooler than soccer.
So we're gonna change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes we talked about Florida riding, and we're gonna get back to that because there is so much Florida riding. And we'll dabble into some Florida races, but I think we're just gonna talk about races today.
Yeah. And I guess we're at the older end of millennials, so we've done a few races combined, which makes us experts. I think I have 3 total.
Yeah, and I have 1, so we have 100% expertise.
Yeah, so you should listen to us, and everything we say is absolutely true and should not be argued with.
It's funny. we'll start with your races, but we have one. I have one race under my belt, and it was miserable. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. So that's because the most racing that you'll see in mountain bike is cross country races.
Yeah.
Traditionally, that's where the sport's been. It's not where I definitely want to focus in the future. But yeah, so my first race was a Go Nuts race, and if you're unfamiliar, oh my gosh, this guy, like, he knows we're getting into
new one. We have a new audience
one?
member. Yeah.
Dude, we just doubled our live audience. That's awesome. Yeah, so he's obviously telling his friends about our podcast.
So your first one was Go Nuts?
First one was Go Nuts, and they're pretty big into like fun, like their whole thing is like fun races. You did a Go Nuts, I think. It was I think that was their first Florida race.
Yeah, it was Go Nuts WTF, but
yeah, welcome to Florida. Yeah, mine was up in Georgia over I think it was like Labor Day weekend in Conyers, which I did some research when we did the race, and that was the just outside of Atlanta, the birthplace of Olympic cross country racing. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the '94 games was in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We'll go with that. We're experts.
I'll look it up.
And so that was the first year that mountain biking was introduced to the Olympic Games, and they made a course just for that. So we did like a family trip up there. We made our kids participate in the cross country races for the kids event, which was a like 100% failure. Like, not a single kid after the race was like, I really want to do that again. Like, if you have athletic kids that just love racing, congrats. My children are that, at least not in mountain biking. They're not big fans, but I had a blast. So we went up there. It's camping. We did 2 laps because we did like the amateur. Actually, I was in the Clydesdale, so I was.
You're with the big boys.
With the big boys, yeah. I think that's above 220.
Right.
It's either 200 or 220. Well, I'm 225, which is the perfect weight for you to compete in the Clydesdale. It was. Let me just talk about the course first. There's 3 big climbs to get you. All your elevation came in like 3 big climbs, and they were brutal. And so those suck no matter what. It's just miserable. And they just kept on going and going. But the downhills on this course were some of the most fun, flowy downhills that I've been a part of. And I guess when I skip ahead on race day, so I caught up to these kids who were on their 3rd lap. I was on my 2nd lap, and each lap is, I don't know, 40 minutes. They were on their 3rd lap, so they're far more tired than I am. I was on my 2nd lap, yeah.
Same division?
No, they were like expert kids.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I had far more fuel reserves than they did. And we were going on the fastest downhill portion. There was 3 of us. I was in the back. Probably 3 bike lengths. No, so like 3.5 bike lengths separated the first guy to my back tire. So like there was maybe a foot, like, and it was 25 miles an hour. Like, it was probably the wildest riding I've ever done with a group. And I was so happy. Like, these kids seemed like they knew each other. I was like, great ride, guys. And they just like looked back like, who is this random old guy with us? Anyway, I passed him on the next.
Just messing up our race.
Yeah. Like, sorry, dude, we're on our 3rd lap. We're tired. And maybe it was my 1st lap. I don't know. It sounds better if I'm on my 2nd lap. But I definitely could have been on my 1st lap. That was my first one. And I had a blast. Like, I had a blast looking back on it. But a mountain bike cross country race is miserable.
It is. It's not. So, are the rest of your races cross country? Well, no, you have a downhill.
So that's my only. Technically, it's my only cross
So
country race.
Okay, let's talk about my cross country race.
All right.
Because the race I did was in Santos. It was the first Florida race, WTF, in Santos, and it wasn't in the Vortex pit, but in the front part of Santos. You know, where they have like
Is that like?
skills area.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you start there, and I was in the Clydesdale as well, because you told me, you're like, dude, just ride Clydesdale. Like,
Yeah, dude.
it's
There's
easy.
like 4 dudes. We were all larger human beings.
Yeah.
There to have fun.
So no, I ride Clydesdale, and these guys were so serious.
Really?
Oh my gosh. And it was so
Clydesdale is not a division for seriousness. That is put on the brightest shirt.
The guy who won that division, that's his. He said like, "This is my home, trail system. I ride this all the time." I was like, "Oh, okay, this guy's really serious." I just looking at the other guys. One guy was a bigger old dude, but they just ride. Like you can tell that's what they do, dude. When we started, first off, I have my enduro bike, right? I'm already starting behind everyone.
Yeah.
But we take off and we're like, so you're going around this big retention pond and it's like a race to get, because once you enter the trail system, it's narrow. You're in a line, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're in a race to get, and I come around the retention pond and there's like a stump. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna jump this stump, and I jump it. And
that must have been early on in a race.
It was right in the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
Soon, like go retention pond, jump, trail system. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is gonna be great. And everyone was probably looking at me like, this idiot, because that's what you don't do that, right?
No.
So and then we get into the trail system.
You definitely don't do it on your second lap.
We get in the trail system and we're in this line. I'm number 3 out of like 6. There were like 6 of us in Clydesdale. And we are, like you said, we're hauling, dude. And there's no, like, listening to your downhill, your cross country, you had downhill. That's awesome. I didn't. Like,
oh, really?
I was in the beginning part of God, I wish I knew the trail. I should have looked it up. But
they didn't send you on any, like, because Santos says the backside of Indigo Flow.
No.
Even Vortex has some really cool kind of
we didn't go to the back at all. We stayed in the front all. Basically green,
just pedal biking,
pedal riding.
What we talked about last week, how you absolutely despise that.
And a lot of rock garden, but like uphill rock gardening, which is really tough. And when you're like, I had my
uphill rock garden. I hate that.
I had my app, my Strava app going, and my average speed at that time, like in the beginning part of the race, you can see like how fast you're going. We're cruising like 18, 20 miles an hour.
That's fast.
And we're wheel to wheel. And I just remember at one point, I'm like, I'm trying to get past this guy, and he won't let me pass. I'm just like, this is so obnoxious. We're all out right now, and no one's making any moves. We're just riding.
That is so fast. Just to start with, it's like everyone. That's like, I mean, that's an early speed.
I got to my breaking point, and I was like, I pulled off. I was like, oh God. I let them pass me, and I get back in. And that's basically how I ended. I ended a minute slower than the guy ahead of me, and I was in last place. I mean, it was so terrible. I was so burnt out. We only do 2 laps, but it took over an hour. It was like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. So your race, the people in your division were different than the people in my division. Like
they were so serious.
I'm surprised the people that I raced against didn't start with like a cocktail in their hand, because they had like these bright like polos. Like they were there to have a good time. They were not there to compete. I
don't remember when I did that. I don't remember it was cold too.
Yeah.
It was so cold.
So Go Nuts last year started Florida, because I think they see the potential in Florida. Like I was actually listening to another podcast, a trail building podcast, which if you're not into trail building, like the worst podcast ever, but I love it. And they're like, yeah, we built this trail in Santos. This guy builds for Jackson Hole, like big time, like big ski and mountain bike destinations. And he said they were describing Indigo Flow. and they put a counter on it. He said that's our most ridden trail.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. So Florida has this huge potential for mountain biking. It's people don't give it credit. We've talked about that. So so Go Nuts started in Florida last year, and I think they see the potential in the market. But my race, it just sounded way different. But all cross country mountain bike races get to single track, and the problem with that is your place in that stack of riders is super important. So when you start a mountain bike race and you know that, it is a sprint from the beginning. And I remember we had like an uphill grassy sprint. So like you had to work pretty hard to go fast. And I was, after 30 seconds, 45 seconds, I got to the front. I was exhausted. 45 seconds into an hour and 20-minute race. I'm like, I'm dying. But then I'm on single track and I got the premier spot. So you have to like keep pushing it. No one can pass me there, but at the same time, like you have to keep up that pace. So that's what surprised me about cross country racing, is from 45 seconds into it to 120 minutes when I crossed the finish line, I was like at my, like I was
Just
always,
go.
yeah, I'm just at my limit. And if you slow down, like people would pass you, like they'd find a way. But if you got behind them and they slowed down, then it's like this frustrating thing. So placement matters. Gosh, it was a miserable experience.
It was terrible. And I expected to be in last place. Well, after what you told me about Clydesdale, I didn't necessarily expect it, but I was like, there's a chance I can be in last place, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't train for it.
Yeah.
And that's not the type of riding I like. I know I can be decent at it, but you have to work for it, right?
Yeah,
It's definitely not something where you're like, hey, let's go cross country race. No, you're going to have a shitty time.
Yeah.
And you're going to come in last place.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, there hasn't been a race. I mean, we haven't done much, but you still got to be a good rider.
Yeah.
Like, I will say my oldest, it's like, he doesn't do a lot of riding. And we told him, hey, you got to do it. Well, his division, like his beginner division, like it was with kids his age. He was 11 at the time. That's what they do. They don't play team sports. They don't do anything else. They ride mountain bikes. And I'm like, dude, these kids are like better than I am at 11.
Machines.
And so I'm like sending my son on a one lap by himself. I ended up passing him, and I felt like such a terrible parent because he's walking his bike up like the longest, most miserable hill. He's walking up, and I'm just there, and I'm like, "Come on, buddy, keep going." He's like, "I'm doing it."
Don't talk to me, Dad. Don't
Like,
talk to me, Dad.
The last person he wanted to see on the planet was me, and I'm like, you know, a good parent would have stopped and been like, "Hey, this race isn't important. Let's take this opportunity to have a bonding moment." And I was like, "All right, buddy, see you at the finish line." Shoot.
But I did not do that.
But yeah, so. But
I would like to get better at it.
it takes it like to your.
I would
point.
like to, but I would not like to because it doesn't interest me.
Yeah. So, I think we got to crush enduro races. So enduro, like if you go out for a day of riding, enduro races most like replicate that the most. That is, you don't get any free rides to the top on a shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
You got to climb all the downhills in a certain amount of time, and that time is not like people walk their bikes up a hill. And they're fine on time. It's only like certain downhill sections are timed.
Yeah. You haven't done one, have you?
I haven't done one.
You went straight to downhill.
Yeah, which was a mistake, and we'll talk about that. So, I'm like, these cross country races for the birds, which I'm probably gonna do another one. But realistically, if I had a choice, I mean, I do have a choice, but I'm probably gonna do one.
Well, the thing, like, it's easier to do one here because most of Florida racing is going to be cross country.
Yeah, so you have less of a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, enduro races. Like when I look at enduro races, it's all like, I mean, the closest you get is North Carolina.
Right.
They did one in Jared's place, which we've been to. And I would love to go there. Hopefully, Go Nuts comes back to Jared's place. So I convinced my wife. I'm like, let's do a downhill race. So in our schedule, in Wind Rock, which is in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, there's a downhill race. It works with our schedule. My parents watch the kids. I don't have the weekend off. She has time. Like everything works out perfect. I know nothing about Wind Rock. Are you that familiar with Wind Rock?
No, I've never been.
Okay, so Wind Rock, unbeknownst to me, is a shuttle service mountain biking park, and their whole thing is like we are a small niche community for expert riders only. So like their blue runs are like double black diamonds here.
Yeah, so let's do a mountain bike race.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm just like, well, if it's a resort, like any other resort, they have, hey, this is your kind of family area, beginners. They have a good intermediate, and then they have some pretty gnarly expert stuff. So a mix for everyone. Wind Rock, like they're just like, the first thing we're gonna do is double black diamond. After that, we'll do more double black, and then maybe for like those beginner riders, we'll do a black diamond. So like everything is super advanced. So we had no idea. Like looking back, it was a little bit outside our scope of riding. But like whatever, we brought our dogs, bought a little cabin.
Just had a good time.
Like we just it was so much fun. So we drove up there. It was like 12 hours. We get up there. We walk the course. And when you walk a course, you're like, dude, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. So the races are all on Saturday. So we got there Friday, walked it. Saturday, we got about 7 or 8 training rides in. After the first one, like, Erica was not happy.
The realization set in.
Like, because, so in Florida riding, since we don't have a lot of, like, we have that, we talk about the fast ascents, quick climbs, but we don't have those big, like, you're going on a mountain and then you need to drop into a berm lower. Like when at Jared's place, when we had those, like, was it Let's Roll and those like the ones you had to hike to, that was a lot of like the berms, like where you're almost like dropping into a berm and you have to catch that berm right or else you're falling. So they had a lot, like that's not a feature that we typically ride in Florida. So
it's funny that you brought that up because I just rode that at Mount Dora the other day. Chicken Biscuit has one like that where you come through the trees and you can roll it or you can drop it. It's like 2 or 3 feet.
Yeah.
But it's immediately into a berm. And I remember thinking like, that doesn't get practiced a lot here.
Yes.
So it's funny that you just brought that up.
So, and we haven't had our Mount Dora episode, but Mount Dora is the place that I was like, I need to ride Mount Dora more if I'm preparing for that enduro downhill because they have the most berms at speed. And that there was a lot of that. So the first practice run, I was like, this might have been a mistake. But I kept my mouth shut, which saved it. Because if I had said, "Hey, babe, this might be a mistake," she was like, yeah, "Let's go back." And like, it ended like, I can't say enough good things about it. It made us both better as riders. We ended up going to some pretty old school. Thank you. Is this a new truck?
No, it's Cisco again, but it is a new one, yeah.
Okay, dude. 3 live audience members and trucks. Phenomenal. So we ended up doing some old school Wind Rock trails. The race itself was really cool, and like everyone there is like super friendly. We went to Jared's place. I don't know if you remember because we rode together. Like I saw like 3 or 4 people from the Wind Rock race that I went up and talked to for a couple minutes. Like, and they were, so it was like definitely a cool community. And that was with Downhill Southeast, which is I think something that we're looking at this year. But it made us a better rider. don't remember what place I got, and it didn't really matter. Like it was a lot of fun. I think it took us about 4 minutes. My bike broke like in the first 45 seconds. My chain came off, and I ended up bending my seat. So yeah, like I couldn't pedal.
You bent your seat?
Yeah, I hit, like, it was a rock garden, and I think I came down. I actually don't really know what happened, but all of a sudden the metal like my seat is like sideways, and I can't pedal. I mean, there's a few important parts that like, you needed to pedal to get up to speed, and so I just kind of I didn't like. And you know what? A downhill race, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to experience that. I don't know. We'll see. We need to. Your next race, though, I think we talked about this last night about an upcoming race we want to do,
Yes.
and that is your next race, right?
So that is, yeah, that's my. Technically, I think that was my second race that we did. It's more cross country ish, but it was the so Markham Park, which is not Markham Woods. It's Markham in Broward County.
Yeah, down south.
Yeah, Sunshine, Florida. So last year it was a 4-hour race.
You know, and I wanted to do this one with you, but I didn't because
you could have done it.
I could have. We chose to do.
Yes.
It was the same weekend that I did mine.
Yes, same day.
It was the same day. Yeah, and I was like, I don't feel like going to Miami, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I'll just do this one. And lo and behold, I should have done the other one, right?
And
now I'm excited for this one.
So this is as close as I've come to feeling like death.
I'm excited to feel like death.
No, well, so I'm not a long endurance athlete, and so the bad habit race is, it's a solo race, or you can do it in a team. Well, you and Willie J decided to drive less hours and just go to
a different race.
A different race. So it's just Erica and I, and you do a lap and then you trade off. So it's a 30. We were doing like 35-minute laps. Well, I was not smart. Like I'm smarter than this. I bought sugar-free Gatorade. I bought like protein cookies with no carbs, and I'm just like, these are things that I'm used to eating, but I typically have an enormous amount of carbs in my diet. I was like, well, I don't want to eat a lot, so I bought some Gatorade because that'll refuel, and then I bought the protein bars. Well, in a 4-hour sporting event, you need carbohydrates.
Yeah, a lot more than what you put than sugar-free Gatorade gives you.
Yeah, like I had nothing, bro. I did 4 laps. Erica did 3 laps, and the last lap, like, you know, when I don't know if you've ever been intoxicated from alcoholic beverages, but let me explain how this works. You are reacting far slower than what you normally can. And when you're 4 hours into a race and you don't have any carbs, like, I felt like I was drunk, and not fun drunk, like exhausted, like miserable,
on the brink of death.
Oh my goodness, dude. So like, I'd be riding the trail, and when you're mountain biking at the highest speed that your body can like put out, like, you need to have all your faculties locked in. And so I'd do a drop, and like after the drop is when my body would tell myself, like, prepare for a drop. So it was dude, it was misery. Well, and the race format is this. It's a 4-hour race. You don't get credit for half laps. You only get credit for full laps. So if you fail to come across the finish line, that was our 7th lap, then your time at 6 laps is your time.
Okay.
If someone finished 7 laps, they beat you. But if they only finish 6 laps, then your 6 lap time. So my last lap, I knew I had I had a little bit of wiggle room, but like I had like a 30-second wiggle room. It's gonna be tight. So I had to push it the whole time. Oh my goodness. It was like no smiling. Like the first lap, because I started the race, and it's this massive wave, and just like how you were like jumping things in your first like couple minutes.
Yeah, like playful. This is gonna be
Dude,
great.
this is so much fun. I'm riding mountain bikes. Like I'd high five with people. Like it was the last lap. Like I ended up passing this guy, and then like early on, and I looked at this guy like this guy should never beat me in any athletic event, and I'm like a minute to the finish line, and this guy zooms by me.
Gotcha.
I have a picture. It's a grainy picture, but like it's perfect because like my soul has left my body. I'm like you have to go do like a U-turn in this grassy area to come across the finish line. And Erica and the kids are cheering me on, and like they were
He just out-carbed you.
he outcarved me. I got done with the race, and they came to give me a hug because I finished with like that 30-second window, right? And I said, "Please give me some space." And Erica looked at me and was like, "Do I need to call 911?" Like that's how bad I was. That she's like, "I think that you need an ambulance." I was like, I need carbs. I think I crushed a Red Bull. And then I started feeling a little bit better. And then I was like, I need you to drive. Because we ended up driving straight back home, and I slept the whole time. Like my body was broken.
That's a good segue though, because that's all our races, right? That's the 4. We went through the 4 already.
Yeah, that was it.
That's so pathetic. I didn't contribute much to that. But it's
just to tell people, if you're listening, like, man, maybe I want to do a cross country race, and I don't want to,
because it just turned me away from all the races. But it's a good segue because racing this year, that's probably going to be our first race, right?
Yeah, the bad habit race. So it's
January
22nd. They've changed the format. It's either a 3-hour race or a 6-hour race.
Yeah, so you went from a 4, or you can either drop down to a 3 because you were so miserable, but we're gonna jump up to a 6. I'm so excited.
So I was like, that's us. Like, hey Earle, you've done a cross country race. What'd you think of it? And you're like, hated it.
Hated it so much.
Tally, how were your experiences? Well, one, I felt like I was dying. The other one, I was miserable the whole time. Okay, so we're going to do this bad habit race, the 3-hour or 6-hour, and we immediately both are like, you respond immediately, let's do the 6-hour. And I was like, yeah, dude, of course. I'm like, what are we?
You have to get your money's worth, right?
Okay. Sure. 6 hours, that's a lot. So we're going to recruit more people. If you had one more person or 2 more, you can get up to a 4-man team. If we can get 4 people, it's going to be a party the whole time.
And we talked about that. That's a part of what made your race so miserable, is that it was just you and your wife, and it was back and forth.
I never got to talk to her about anything I was experiencing. As soon as I crossed the finish line, she got tagged in, and then she was there, and then I'd sit for 20 minutes and then stand at the line. So if you had a group of 3 or 4, you could interact and share your misery with each other and ride less.
It's gonna be miserable. But I mean, we're getting 2 more hours, so we're gonna ride. Probably I have to do the math, but it's probably gonna be close to the same.
Yeah, so it'd be the same amount of riding if we had 3 or 4 people. Yeah,
and also we don't know what the course is gonna look like. They might change the course a little bit.
So Markham Park is awesome.
I've never been.
It's a really good mountain bike park. The thing that kills you is they have like sections, and so there'll be a straightaway for a quarter mile to get you from like one section to another, and that's the passing zone. So you're either dead and you can't pedal anymore, so you're already screwed, or you're like, I have a little bit of energy, I need to pass these 4 people before I get to single track, and I'm not able to pass anyone. And so
it's like a fire road here, like when we go.
Yes, yeah.
I hate those.
Yeah. So yeah, you're either dead or you're like going as fast as you can on those to try to pass as many people as possible. So again, you're going to be miserable. But if you're miserable for 35 minutes and then you get to rest an hour and a half, it's going to be, you get to enjoy you get that community, you get to enjoy the event far more. So I'm super excited about that.
Me too. Have we looked into? I mean, I know we have looked into any other ones, but we looked into any serious other races because there's one race we looked into. We're like, oh, that'd be really cool, right?
Yeah. So, and this is still a bucket list race for me. So
Yeah, I mean, 5-year race maybe, 5-year goal.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. 5 years.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
So yeah, I knew about this again. Just kind of, I heard about someone doing it on a podcast or something. So I'm like, this is awesome. So here's the race is called the Trans New England, and if you search for that on the Instagram, and you start with trans, some unusual
funny pictures.
some unusual things are popping up on my feed, and but luckily, as soon as you press trans space N, New
you get
England,
more
New England,
inappropriate things. But you put New England, it comes out great.
So yeah. So the Trans New England, and it is, this is brilliant. Whoever did this, it's a 6-day event, and it is 5 blind enduro races. So you don't know what you're gonna ride.
Like that.
They bring you to a course. You ride. It's an all day. It's like a 5-6 hour race. Again, probably 5 sections are timed. You're riding the whole time. Afterwards, you break your camping spot down and you drive a couple miles to the next event. And that is where you set up camp. You hang out all night, drinking beverages and talking about the previous race. Wake up in the morning and you race another 5-6 hours. Pack it up, and it's 5 days of racing all day, packing up, driving to the next location, setting up camp, drinking, hanging out, bonfire. It's limited to 50 riders.
When you told me that, I was like, I guess I can see like the exclusiveness, right? But like,
Yeah.
Why?
I don't.
Logistics.
I mean, I guess it would have to be logistics. But
I mean, you can open up to 100 people, 200 people, and charge less.
So wouldn't it be the same logistically if they open it up to 100 riders instead of 50? Like logistically, you still need the same amount of people running the course.
Yeah, it might be like I don't know. Did you see anything about the people that rode the race last year?
No idea.
I wonder if it's like.
I mean, the video showing the race shows people that clearly know how to ride.
Yeah. But
like the promo video, but like the people in camping were, all shapes and sizes and ages. So
I wonder if maybe it's I don't know. We'll look into it more.
We committed to it.
It's a 5-year goal now. I mean,
we
have to look into it.
Because I was like, hey, I heard about this. I did some research, and then on the bottom it was like apply. So I was like, well,
before you get there. When you told me about it and I told Jen, and she was like, oh, yeah, that sounds fun. Like, we can make a trip out of this.
Yes,
you
absolutely could.
It does. And she was on board. I'm like, yeah, she's on board. And she was on board about another thing. Well, we need to talk about the March one, too.
Yep.
But she was on board. I was like, oh. Yeah, she's on board. Here we go. My wife does not ride bikes. I mean, I bought her a bike when I bought my bike because that was the way I could buy my bike, Here, I got mine, but I also got you one. And she rode it one time. And it's just hanging in the garage. And I was like, oh, she's on board with it. And then you told me I was like, she is not going to be on board. That's just going to change her mind. It is. You sent me a text one day. It was like, we weren't talking about it. You sent it in the morning. I remember because I dropped the kids off and I was on the highway. And you said, Trans New England, 1950. With an exclamation point. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh. There goes that.
There
Not
goes
doing
that
that.
idea. Yeah. So it is a $2,000 entry fee. And like, it's not like if you win, you get the pot, which we would not be going there to win. We'd just be going there to
we'd be spending $2,000 to hang out.
Yeah.
And watch people beat us.
Probably break our bikes multiple times.
Definitely break a bike.
There's a good chance someone's getting injured. Like it is. But I mean, the riding itself looks like I said, kind of like one of those bucket list events where 5 days in a row, a lot of riding, seeing different places that, I mean, we're never, without that race, like we're not going to drive or fly up there in all likelihood and hit 5 different spots. So that opportunity to experience something new is like huge. But $2,000, bro.
And is it the first? That's one thing I was thinking about too. Is it the first 50, or is it like you get picked out of a?
No,
A
no,
bucket.
it's like an application. So it's definitely not the first 50. It's like, so we would have to obviously lie. I mean, we're influencers now.
famous podcasters? Like you want famous podcasters on your race.
Dude, if you want pub on your race, you gotta bring B3.
There's another race in March though, or no, it wasn't a race, was it?
No, so it's a downhill race.
It is.
So this is gonna be more your speed.
Yeah, because gravity carries me downhill faster.
Yeah, gravity.
Is that an insult?
No. I mean, it's okay. Then it's more my speed because, so downhill southeast, which, I mean, I looked online. It didn't say, but I know it's a professional rider that started this series, and it doesn't say on the website like that. He's not doing it for like attention. Like he just wants an awesome downhill series. They also do downhill, or they also do enduro southeast. So same company, enduro races. They don't have the 2023 schedule out, but
March is downhill.
yep. So March 10th through the 12th
No.
in Sequatchie, Tennessee, and I'm like 95% confident that's how you say it.
I didn't, knowing how bad you are at pronouncing things, I didn't even question it. I just Sequatchie.
I think
sounds right.
I honestly, like, I would put money down that's how you say it. Well, it's right the same time spring break is.
Mm-hmm.
So family wise, it makes sense because it's a beautiful part of the world, in the mountains of Tennessee. So I'm pretty committed to that.
Yeah, me too.
And it's so 10th through the 12th. So you get 2 days of like pre-riding and then that 1 day of racing. And it's so much fun. Like all the nerve, it's honestly, it feels a lot like Roundup because you're like all that nerves. And then once you're like,
Once
you're
button,
going,
yeah.
or you're just in the zone.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think I had anything to say. I was probably just going to repeat.
Yeah.
But
I think what I need to do, what I'd like to start taking this seriously. Those are the only ones we have planned so far, right?
yeah. And I will say, like, when you do the downhill races, it's not like you're cruising. Like, you're, like, I don't know what my heart rate was, but I remember being completely out of breath. Heart rate was just, like, through the roof. Your hand, like, your whole body is tired. And it's like, I mean, after 30 seconds, I couldn't even pedal. But, like, it's a full, like, you're exhausted. Exhausted.
I didn't realize that. Maybe I did. Maybe I just forgot. But I didn't realize that March was a downhill race.
Yeah.
So I think I need to. I mean, we have a merch specifically for this. That merch shout out for you. You started riding with this when you went to Windrock, right?
So I've had it for a while. I've had it before that.
Oh, really?
But like it's just turned into such a good investment for me.
I'm gonna pick one up because now I already got nerves in me for March. I'm like, great, I might kill myself, you know. But maybe this piece of gear will help save me. You ride with it all. You ride with it all the time now.
Yeah. So I will. How about you just say what it is and then I'll.
Yeah, I was building up for you, but I don't want to mess it up. Is it Leat or Leet?
Such a good question.
We'll go with
because
Leet.
I've said it the same. I forget. I saw one video and it said it correctly, obviously, because it was. Yeah, let's go with Leet.
Leet.
Pretty sure it was that.
Chest protector. So you ride with this chest protector all the time, and I never. Maybe I'm naive, but the Florida riding we do, it's just like I don't need that. It's just another thing that's going to restrict my breathing.
So, 100% understand why you would think. So it's like one of the most lightweight chest protectors on the market. And we really got into it. Well, first of all, the downhill, you have to have it. you have to have a
Oh,
full
it
face
is, man.
helmet.
It
Yep.
is.
You have to have a
Okay.
full face helmet, and you have to have a chest protector. But remember, the first time you rode bomb, Erica had a crash, and her front wheel washed out.
It was on the. I remember we waited for her for a second, right?
Yeah, I was like, she's usually right behind us. She was not in a good mood, and she fell. Her front wheel washed out, fell forward. Well, her handlebar, just like her rib, crushed her handlebar. Like it was just perfectly wrong, you know. So her rib got pretty sore, and she's like bruised rib type of thing. So I was like, like it doesn't take much.
She didn't have it on.
No, so we didn't have it because it's like, again, it's like, we're not going downhill, but I ride a full face helmet and a chest protector every ride, and it's 10 times out of 10 so far. Like, you don't need a chest protector. I haven't needed a chest protector. Yeah. I've needed a full face helmet once, and that's the point. Is like
I guess if you relate it to so I started riding with that full face helmet since our last Georgia trip, right?
Yeah.
Basically after you did. I guess now I just ride it all the time. You get used to it, right?
You get used to it.
It's a slight inconvenience, but it eventually just goes away.
Yeah, it just becomes the standard.
Yeah.
And again, like it's not a full face helmet like I had when I was a kid BMXing. That was like essentially a motorcycle helmet.
Right.
Like these things are super breathable. The chest protector, like I forget, is on. The full face helmet, yeah, it's a little bit inconvenient. You notice the difference if you went full face to like a half shell. But realistically, when our helmets are stage, Troy Lee Design stage full face helmets, super light, very breathable. I don't like. Yeah, it's
got
nothing.
MIPS.
Yeah.
Duh. Like it's necessary. So yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. If our riding's getting more serious, we should probably do that. So the merch shout out to Leet Chest Protector.
Yeah, they're a South African company. Yeah,
I don't know about that.
They make cool stuff. Like, I mean, we've talked about like what's our ideal sponsor. Leet's in my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're really cool.
I do have another one though, because we talked about this we talked about it before, but we talked about it last night, right? If we're gonna get into these races, like, you should probably start taking them seriously.
Yeah,
we're spending money on them, right?
Yeah.
So I bought a Rogue Echo bike last night.
I can't applaud you enough.
I bought one. You have one. You use it a lot.
It is the majority of my cardio now.
So my wife, I mean, we have a Peloton, and she rides that all the time. She's like, "We'll just ride the Peloton." I'm like, "Well, one, I can't ride the Peloton when you're riding the Peloton, right? And two, I just don't want to ride a Peloton."
No, I don't either.
So,
I mean, I've made jokes about the videos, like the instructors on the Peloton.
I don't like them,
dude. Well, some of them I'm like, that's borderline inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say borderline, like to me, I'm like, that's crossing the line. The Echo bike is as much a mountain biking. Like you can't get a better mountain biking fitness test.
You can't simulate it better
outside of actually going out and riding for fitness. Like road biking, all legs. Your arms are just you're just holding the handlebars. Mountain biking, dude, it's a full body thing. Like you're actively popping onto stuff, popping off this. Like,
well, and that's the reason why I kind of went with that. Is I've used an Echo bike before, right?
Yeah.
And they kick your ass. I've had a road bike before, and it also kicks your ass. But for me, like when I had my road bike, like I'd be gone for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
To get a good workout. Where an Echo bike, if you do like, and I guess you can probably do it. Anyone listening is gonna be like, "Oh, you can do that on a road bike too," but you can do HIIT training and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like I'm telling you, like mountain biking is a full body thing. Road bike is your arms are pumping. You have the same bike, so it's like your legs can still get the same workout you can on a Peloton, but with the road bike, you're using your arms. So I can't run as like I got some injuries running, so I stopped running as much as I
did too. Yeah.
I had. Yeah, that road bike, it crushes you, and it to me like that's what I use when we go to like Jared's or Mulberry Gap.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I really ramp up.
I remember you said that, and you crushed I remember you crushed Mulberry Gap. You're like, dude, I just rode my
Dude.
Echo bike
Yes.
like every day.
Yes.
I just did this every day.
Yeah.
So I got it. I bought it last night. It's coming this week. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you.
I'm going on a trip. I'm going to North Carolina this weekend. Fortunately, I won't be riding because it's my 10-year anniversary. I tried to bring my bike and she shot that down. So I'm gonna try to get it.
I will applaud you for even trying.
I tried.
you knew.
I try, and doing an episode is still on the table.
Oh, really?
We'll figure it out, but we might be able to do a call-in episode. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll send her to the spot.
She'll love that. Ooh, yeah.
I'll treat her to the spot one day. We'll just do an episode.
She'll find out when it posts on Monday.
She doesn't support me. She doesn't listen. If you're wondering who our listeners, it's not my wife. But
I mean, my wife listens. I grab her phone. I go on the podcast.
You play it for her.
Yeah. Have fun at work. You can listen to this for the next hour.
Yeah. So we definitely need to shout out to Rogue and put him in our hashtag. Maybe they'll send us something.
A sticker.
A cell phone holder or something.
Sticker. Do you want to bring it up?
You did. I honestly already forgot.
Oh my gosh, this is exciting stuff. Are you guys ready?
We're official.
Dude, we're big time.
We have stickers.
We have stickers, and
the stickers are going to be in my mailbox in probably about an hour. My mail usually comes around 1 o'clock. But we also have...
we got hats.
Hats.
We got hats.
Stickers and hats, fellas.
So
and ladies.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. We're
come find us. We'll give you one.
We're pretty excited about it. So it's been, dude, we're over 100. Dude, we're crushing it. We're over 100 downloads now. Triple-digit downloads.
Triple-digit. We're practically famous, so whenever a Sprinter van wants to come and give us a van, that's cool. But we got to work on our koozies first. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. We got stickers and hats.
Yeah.
First, I almost want to say, like, the stickers are going to be, like, they're already labeled as, like, the retro design. Like, the old classic, like,
just
when companies evolve, and it's like, oh, but this was our first one, and it looks crappy, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a crappy, plain, straight-edge sticker. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Are we good on races?
I think
we've talked about our upcoming races. Go Nuts is coming out with a schedule hopefully soon. The Enduro.
Yeah, I mean, we figured out the races that
we got two good ones.
We looked up.
We got two really good ones.
That'll bring us through the first quarter. So
yeah, I'm
happy with that.
And we're not doing Trans New England.
We set a 5-year goal.
It'd be so much fun, but that's a half of a really nice spike.
I'll start saving up for it now. In 5 years,
yeah. Buy a new bike.
In 5 years, I'll have to have another $1,000 for it, right?
All right. I think that's we're at the conclusion of episode 5.
I think so. It was fun. I like this one.
Yeah, this is a good one. Again, we're on social media at b3mtb, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Check us out. Send us an email, b3mtbcrew@gmail.com. And, if we see you out there, we're now sporting our B3 gear. So
we will give you a sticker. Just like Venmo us some. No, I'm joking. All right.
No, seriously. All right, man.
See you guys.
See you.